So welcome to our core movement class. Today, let's start in a tabletop position. All right, so just coming onto hands and knees. And we'll just start to stretch into the wrists. So taking hands about shoulder distance or maybe a little wider, right? Shoulders can be stacked above wrists or slightly behind. And then let's just start to shift back. And then slowly start to hinge forward. Right? Start to feel a sensation of stretch into the wrists, into the forearms, and then shifting back. And just do that a couple of times. Just going at your pace. You can pause as you lean forward and hold this stretch. And then just really making sure the fingers are spread wide. And you're trying to press through the full palm of the hand. And we're just preparing the wrists for like the planks that we do in this class. And then coming back to center, turning the hands so that the fingertips face the edges of the mat. And then start to rock back or from side to side. Again, fingers are spread wide, pressing through the full palm of the hand. And just start to feel the weight shift between the hands. Maybe start to make some circles through the arms and just feeling the weight pass through the whole hand. And then let's change direction. And then return to center. And let's turn the hands so that they're facing forward once again. And we'll cycle through a few cat-cows. So whether you prefer to inhale or exhale as you start to make your way towards cow, on your next breath, start to scoop the spine and drop the belly, taking the tailbone up, sending the heart forward and taking the gaze up. And then when you're ready, you can start to round through the spine and lower the head and tuck the tailbone. Really stretch across the back body. And then make your way back towards cow. And just continue to cycle between cat and cow. And just going at your pace. You can pause at any point through this movement. And then come back to center. Let's start to extend the right leg out behind you and flex the foot. Notice if you're like scooping through that low back, right? Hug your belly button in towards the spine, right? Keep the back body long, kicking out through the heel, and then start to extend the left arm out in front. Maybe lift everything up just a little higher. And then start to sweep the arm and the leg out to the side. And then come back to center. And let's do that 2 more times. Sweeping the arm and leg out to either side. Return to center. And last time. And then coming back. And then lowering the hand and lower the leg back down. And we'll go to the other side. So extending the left leg out behind you. Right, flex the foot and kick out through the heel. Right, try to keep that belly button pulling in towards the spine. And then reach that right arm forward. Taking arm and leg out to the side. And then coming back to center. And 2 more times, sweeping the arm and leg out. Extending forward and back. And last time, out to the side. Returning to center. And then setting the hand and leg back down. Tuck the toes under and start to lift the knees up off the mat. Right, start to lift the hips up and back, making your way into a downward dog. Maybe just pedaling the feet out a few times. Right, lifting the hips up high. Get the spine long. And then maybe stepping your feet just a little bit wider than hip distance. Let's shift forward into plank. And then from plank, right, bending into the knees, start to walk the hands back. Right, we're making our way towards a squat at the back of the mat. Right, heels can stay lifted off the mat, right, or they can come down onto the mat. Lift up through the crown of the head and pull the tailbone down towards the mat. And just feel that lengthening through the spine. And then slowly start to lift the hips up, coming into forward fold. Right, knees can be bent a lot, or you can keep the legs towards straight. Maybe lifting the leg bones up into the hip sockets, allowing the spine to get long. On your next breath, lifting up halfway and fold forward once again. Rise up to stand, reaching arms up and over, and then start to hinge forward, making your way back into forward fold. Lift and lengthen halfway once again, and start to fold forward, planting the hands, and slowly start to walk the hands forward, making your way into plank. Right. Hold here in your plank, and then either knees up or knees down. Start to lower all the way down onto the mat. Untuck the toes and press the tops of the feet down into the mat. Pulling hands towards the back of the mat. Start to curl up into your back bend. Lift up through the crown of the head and send the heart forward. And then slowly lower all the way back down. And let's do that 2 more times. Rising up, really sending that heart forward. Keep pressing the feet down into the mat. And lower back down. Last time, lifting up. And then slowly lower. And then let's push back into tabletop and tucking the toes under. Take the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Let's shift forward into plank and then lift the hips up and back. 2 more times, coming forward into your plank and then shifting back into downward dog. Last time, forward for plank and then up and back with the hips for downward dog. Let's lift the right leg up and back and then shift forward into plank and take the right knee to the right shoulder. Lifting back and kicking the leg out and back. Coming forward into plank, right knee to right shoulder. 1 more time. Lift the hips up and back, kick that right leg back. Come forward into your plank, knee to shoulder and hold. Step the right foot down, pivot onto the outer edge of that left foot and sweep your right arm overhead for supported side plank. Sweep the right arm overhead, really stretch that arm towards the top of the mat. Maybe hug the left waist in, lift the hips up, and really stretch across the right side body. Take that right arm back up and then sweep it down onto the mat. And let's step that right foot back, coming back into downward facing dog and going to the other side. Lifting the left leg up and back. Shift forward to plank and take the knee to the shoulder. Hips up and back. Extend the leg back. Come forward into plank. Again, take left knee to left shoulder. One more time, shift the hips up and back and kick the leg back. Shifting forward to plank, knee to shoulder. Let's step that left foot down, pivot onto the outer edge of the right foot, and sweep the left arm up for supported side plank on the other side. Sweep the left arm over, really extend out through the fingertips. Hug the right waist in and expand across the left side. And then take that left arm up. Plant the hand onto the mat. Step the left foot back, coming back into downward facing dog. Let's bend the knees deeply and look forward to the hands and walk through to a seat. And we'll set up for boat. So starting with knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat, maybe holding on to the back of the thighs. Get tall through the spine, right? Lift up through the crown of the head and keep the back of the neck long. Let's start to tip back any amount, right? Maybe toes stay on the mat, maybe feet lift off the mat, right? Maybe legs come towards 90, or you can extend them towards straight. Right, so just finding what feels right for you today. Maybe extending arms out to the sides. And then let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let's start to lower. And we'll hover here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift back up into your boat. And again, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower again. And hold again for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's sweep the arms out behind us and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend elbows and knees and hug in and hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. And just take a moment here to pause. And just laying here on your back. Maybe knees are bent or legs are extended, or maybe even just windshield wipering legs from side to side. Right, just take this time to reconnect with your breath. And then let's take the arms out wide with the palms face down on the mat. Let's take the legs towards 90 and flex the feet. And hug the legs in towards one another. And then slowly start to sweep the knees down towards the right. And then lift back up through center and take them over to the left. And then continue to windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Right? Just go at your pace, but move with control. Right? Really using the core to take you through this movement. Right? Try not to let momentum swing the legs back and forth. Maybe hug your belly button in towards the spine, right? And try to keep the low back towards the mat. Option if you'd like, you can start to take the legs towards straight, right? As you sweep the legs to each side. Again, just making sure you're moving with control through this movement, right? Really feeling the abs engage as you sweep the legs. And then let's return to center. And if the legs aren't straight already, start to extend the legs up. Right, you can keep the arms out in a T with the palms face down, or if you prefer, you can tuck the hands underneath the hips. Right, so just deciding which feels better for you. Slowly start to lower the legs down towards the top of the mat, and then lift the legs back up. Right, and just lift and lower. Again, just going at your pace. Right, keep the legs together. Right, try to make sure you try to keep that low back as close to the mat as possible. Right, keep engaging through your core. And let's do one more lift. And then hug the knees in towards the chest. And then whether you prefer to rock your way up or maybe just roll to one side, make your way into tabletop. Let's kick the right leg out behind us. Again, flex the foot. Start to extend the left arm forward. Right, hug the belly button in towards the spine. Expand across the back body. And then start to bend the elbow and the knee and hug in and tap. Expand back out and then sweep the arm and leg out to the side. Come back to center. Bend elbows and knees and tap. Reach it back out and sweep the leg out to the side and arm to the side. Return to center. And again, round in and hug and tap elbow and knee. Reaching back out. Take arm and leg out to the side and come back to center. And then lower the hand and lower the leg down. Going to the other side. Let's kick the left leg out behind us. Extend the right arm forward. Start to round in. Tap elbow and knee. Reach it back out. And then sweep the arm and leg out to the side. Come back to center. Again, hug in and tap. Reach back out. Sweeping arm and leg out to the side. Returning to center. And again, hug in and tap. Extend back out. Sweeping out to the side. And return to center. And then lower the hand and lower the knee down. Returning into tabletop. Let's lower down onto forearms with the palms face down. And then step both legs back, coming into your forearm plank. Hold here in forearm plank. Again, really hug in across the front of the body and puff up into the back body. Feeling the weight through the feet. Shift the weight into the left foot and lift the right foot up off the mat and point the toe. Right, and start to draw a small circle here with the toes, right, with that whole right leg, maybe the size of a grapefruit. And then change direction. And then pause and step the right foot down. And let's switch sides. Shifting the weight into the right foot. Lift the left foot up and point the toes. Right, start to draw a circle with the left leg. and then change direction. And then pause again, and then step that left foot down. Let's lower the knees down, lower the belly, maybe shifting arms forward slightly and untuck the toes and come into Sphinx Pose. Keep the back of the neck long, right? Maybe pouring the heart forward. Right? Pull the shoulders down and back. And staying here in Sphinx, start to tuck the head. Right? Tuck the chin in towards the chest. Right? Start to lift up through the upper back. Right? Start to lift up through the mid back. Maybe lifting the hips up off the mat. Right? Maybe coming up onto the knees. And then slowly lower all the way back down. And let's do that 2 more times. And starting in Sphinx. Again, lift up through the crown of the head and keep the shoulders down. Start to tuck the chin in towards the chest. And start to puff up into the upper back. And start to hug the ribs in. And start to puff up into the mid back. Start to lift the belly up. Start to lift, lift the hips up. Maybe coming up onto the knees. Just pause and hold. And then slowly lower all the way back down. And let's do that 1 more time. Lower the head and tuck the chin in towards the chest. And start to expand across the upper back and mid back. And start to hug those low ribs in. Start to hug the belly in and start to lift the hips up. Coming up onto the knees and just pause and hold. And then slowly lower all the way back down into Sphinx. And then extending the arms forward and just lower down. And let's take the palms in. And then on your next breath, start to lift the arms and lift the legs up off the mat. Right, lift up through the crown of the head. Maybe lift everything up just a little higher. And then slowly lower all the way back down. Hands by the low ribs. And push up through tabletop, tucking the toes under and coming into downward facing dog. Let's shift forward into plank and then take the hips up and back. Coming forward into plank and again lifting hips up and back. 1 more time, shifting forward into your plank and then lifting the hips up and back. Hold here in downward dog. And let's lift the left leg up and back. Shifting forward into plank, take the left knee to the right elbow. Lifting the hips up, kick the leg out and back. Coming forward into your plank, left knee to right elbow. Lift the hips and kick it back. And shifting forward to plank, again left knee to right elbow and hold. Start to extend the left leg out to the right and pivot onto the sole of that right foot. Sweep that right arm up and over. Coming into supported side plank once again. Lift the hips up and hug that left waist in. Reach that right arm over and really stretch across the right side. Right, sweeping back up. Maybe lower the hips slightly. And then lift back up and sweep the arm over. And 2 more times. Take that arm up, lower the hips, and then lift back up and stretch Last time, start to lower slightly, take the arm up, and then lift and stretch. Take that right arm back up, and then let's plant the hand and step the left foot back, coming back into downward facing dog. And just take a few breaths here in your downward dog, right? Or maybe lower down onto the knees and take a child's pose, right? Maybe even just sitting up. Maybe you want to shake the wrists out before going to the other side. So then we'll just meet back into downward facing dog. And we'll do those same movements to the other side. Let's take that right leg up and back. Shift forward to plank and take the right knee to the left elbow. Lifting the hips up and back and kick the right leg back. Coming forward into plank, right knee to left elbow. And once again, lift the hips up and back and lift the leg back. Come forward into your plank, right knee to left elbow and hold. Start to kick the right foot out to the side and pivot onto the sole of that left foot. And reach that left arm up and over for side plank on the other side. Right, hug the right waist in, expand across the left side and reach that left arm over. Right, take the arm up and just lower the hips slightly and then lift back up and reach over. Right, 2 more times, dipping the hips, reaching the arm up, and then lift and expand. 1 more time, lowering the hips, reaching the arm up, and then take it over and lift up through the side waist, expand across the left. Taking that left arm up, and then plant the left hand and step that right foot back, coming back into your downward facing dog. Let's bend the knees deeply. Look forward to the hands and walk through to a seat. Setting up into boat. Maybe starting by holding onto the back of the thighs. Lengthen the spine and just tipping back slightly. Let's reach the arms up, right, and just hold here. And then send the arms forward and just lower back slightly. And then lift back up and reach the arms up. Right, 2 more times. Lower slightly, take the arms forward. And then lifting back up, reach the arms up. 1 last time. Just tipping back, take the arms forward. And then let's lift the arms up and come back up. Let's take hands to heart center, and we're still leaning back slightly. Let's start to twist to the right, coming through center and twist to the left. Again, unwind and just do a few more twists from side to side, right? Just going at your pace. Right? Try to keep the spine long, right? And just leaning back as far as you can. Right, so really feeling that engagement through the core hold you up. And then let's do 1 more on each side. And come back to center, reaching the arms back up, right? Rise back up. And then taking hands maybe behind the legs or take them out to the side. Start to lean back and maybe lifting the legs up towards 90, right? And let's hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower down and pause and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reach the arms back and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend elbows and knees and hug in and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And lower all the way down onto the mat. Again, just a moment here to pause and just find your breath. Noticing how you're feeling and noticing how you're breathing in this moment. And let's take the legs towards 90 degrees and then interlace hands behind the head. Right, start to curl the head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat. And let's start to twist. Let's take the right elbow towards the left knee and kick the right leg out. Come back through center and then twist to the other side. Left knee to right elbow, or left elbow to right knee. And again, just continue to twist from side to side. And try to keep your low back on the mat. Right, like you're trying to hug the hip bones towards the rib bones. And then the next time you're twisting to the left, let's hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back through center and twist to the right and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Returning to center and release. Right, maybe hugging knees in towards the chest. Again, just taking a moment here to pause. And then taking arms out to your sides with the palms face down. Let's start to extend the legs up towards straight. Start to shift the legs over to the right, maybe about 20 or 30 degrees. Left hand behind the head. And let's curl the head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat. Right, so right arm is down on the floor or mat. And then let's twist to the right and take that left elbow towards the knees. And then come back to center. And again, let's twist, taking elbow toward the knees and come back to center. So just a few more, right, moving at your pace. And then the next time you're twisting, let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. And maybe hugging knees in towards the chest. And then let's set up for the other side. Right, arms out to your sides with the palms face down. Start to extend the legs up towards straight and just keep the legs together. Start to tip the legs to the left about 20 or 30 degrees. Right hand behind the head. Right, and let's start to lift the head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat. And then let's twist to the left, taking the right elbow towards the knees and come back to center. Right, so a few more, again, just going at your pace. And then the next time you're twisting to the left, let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. And hug the knees in towards the chest. And then either rolling to one side or rolling up, finding your way into tabletop. And let's come down onto forearms, palms face down, and then stepping feet back, coming into forearm plank. Let's take the hips and heels to the left and sweep the right arm up. Lower back down, coming through center, and then shifting to the right, reaching the left arm up. Coming back to center, and let's do that again. Shifting over to the left, taking that right arm up, coming through center, and then shifting to the right, and let's take that left arm up. Return to center once again, and let's hold here, right? Hug your belly button in, puff up through the back body, right? Don't let the hips sink towards the mat. You can keep hands on the mat or maybe interlace the fingers. And then let's start to take the hips and heels to the left, sweeping them up through center and then over to the right. And just continue to sweep hips and heels from side to side. Again, move with control and don't let momentum do the work. And one more on each side. And then coming back to center. And then lower the knees, lower the hips. Right, taking forearms onto the mat, pointing toes back, and coming back into your Sphinx pose. Right, palms face down, elbows either below shoulders or slightly in front. Lifting up through the crown of the head, and just send the heart forward, taking shoulders down and back. Pressing the feet down into the mat. Let's tuck the chin in towards the chest. Right, start to lift up through the low or upper back and mid back. Right, hugging the ribs in, hug the belly button in, and start to lift the hips up and just come up onto the knees. And then slowly lower all the way back down. And let's do two more. And slowly tuck the chin in. And start to puff up into that upper back and mid back. Right, hugging the low ribs in. Hug your belly button in. Start to lift the hips up, right, and coming up onto the knees. And just hold and breathe. And then slowly lower back down. And one more time. Start to lower the head. Right, lifting up through the upper back and mid back. Right, hug the ribs in. Right, hug the belly in. Start to lift the hips up and come up onto the knees. Just hold. And then slowly lower all the way back down. Start to extend the arms out in front with the palms face in. And on your next breath, lift the arms and legs up off the mat. And extend out through the fingers and extend out through the toes. Maybe lift everything up a little higher. And then let's lower all the way back down. And then hands by the low ribs. And let's push back into a child's pose. Right, arms can be forward or back. You can either bend the elbows and stack the hands and just rest the forehead onto hands. Or maybe feel a stretch across the whole back. Might feel a stretch through the low back. And just stay connected with your breath. And then coming up to a seat. And let's take the legs out in front, setting up for one more boat. Right, holding on to the back of the thighs. I get tall through the spine and start to tip back any amount. Again, feet can stay on the mat, maybe lift off the mat. Right, maybe taking legs towards 90 or taking them towards straight. You can hold the back of the thighs, or you can take arms out to the sides. Right, and let's hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and start to lower. And let's hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, sweeping arms out behind you and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend elbows and knees and hug in and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and lower all the way down. Taking legs towards 90, right, and arms out wide into a T. Let's cross the right knee over the left, and then sweep the right arm under the left and bind the arms, right, either palms together, back of hands together. And then slowly start to lower the toes and fingers and tap the mat, and then curl all the way up and tap elbows and knees. And then slowly lower all the way back down and tap. And again, lift and curl up and tap. Right, and just a few more at your pace. And let's do one more. And then let's hold and tap elbows and knees and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and lower down and release the bind. Right, maybe just hug the knees in towards the chest. And then let's set up for the other side. Right, taking legs towards 90, arms out wide. Cross the left knee over the right. Let's sweep the left arm under the right. And again, bind the arms. Start to lower toes and fingers down towards the mat. And then curl all the way up, tapping elbows and knees. And then lower and tap. Again, few more at your pace. Right, moving as slow or as fast as you like. Right, just making sure you're moving with control. And then the next time you curl up, let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. Right, release the bind. Again, just hug the knees in towards the chest. And then let's step the feet down onto the mat and we'll set up for bridge. Taking arms to your sides. And let's just walk the heels in towards the sit bones. Right, maybe hugging the shoulder blades in towards one another. Right, really pressing through the arms, pressing through the feet. Let's start to lift the hips up. Maybe pressing into the back of the shoulders and the back of the head. And just lift the hips up a little higher. And keep pressing through the feet. And then just pause at the top and keep breathing here. And then start to lower all the way back down. Let's step the feet a little further away from the sit bones, right? Maybe about a footprint away, half a footprint. Again, reset and just hug the shoulder blades in, right? Pressing arms into the mat, press the feet down into the mat, and let's lift the hips up once again. Right? Keep pressing down into the mat, right? Pushing through the shoulders, pushing into the back of the head, and just take the hips up as high as you can. And again, pause at the top. And then let's lower all the way back down. And then we'll do 2 more and just add a little bit of leg and glute work. So you can set up and decide whether you'd like the feet closer or further away or somewhere in between. So just finding your starting point. Again, let's just hug the shoulders in, right? Arms down onto the mat. Start to press through the feet and float the hips up. Press into the arms, right, into the shoulders, and just take the hips up as high as you can. Start to shift the weight into the left foot, and then hug the right knee in towards the chest and flex the foot. Keep pressing through that left foot, right? Make sure that the right hip doesn't drop, and then kick the right leg out towards the top of the mat, and keep holding, right? Keep pressing through that left foot, right? Keep that right hip lifted, and then pull that right knee back in, and then kick the foot up towards the ceiling. Keep pressing through that left foot. Again, don't let the right hip drop, and then take the right leg out to the side. Sweep it back in towards center, and then let's lower all the way down and step the right foot down. Right, again, a moment here to pause. Right, maybe you want to just windshield wiper the legs a little and just reconnect with your breath. And we'll set up for the other side. Right, so just reset your feet. Right, reset the arms. Hug the shoulder blades in and start to root through the feet. Right, press through the arms. Start to take the hips up. Right, maybe lift them up just a little higher and really rooting through the feet. Start to shift the weight into that right foot. And let's pull the left knee in towards the chest and flex the foot. Again, make sure you don't drop that left hip. Start to kick the left leg out towards the top of the mat and hold. Keep pressing through that right foot. Let's hug the knee back in towards the chest. Keep lifting the hips and then kick the left leg up. Sweep the leg out to the side. Take it back to center. And then let's lower all the way down and step the left foot down. And just hug the knees in towards the chest. Right, just rocking a little from side to side. And then when you're ready, release the legs. Right, extend them out along the mat. Take the arms to your sides with the palms face up. And just coming into your final relaxation. letting go of all effort. Right, just let the body get heavy. Right, start to soften the breath. Right, settle into stillness. And I will leave you here so that you can take as long as you like in your final relaxation shape. And thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your practice with me today. It is always such an honor and truly a joy to share this practice. Sending gratitude for our practice and gratitude for our community. Wishing you all a beautiful rest of the day. Peace. And thank you so much